This is highwithoutcoke and welcome back to my channel. This time in 3.25, melee is finally the winner. So all melee enjoyers, rejoice because we're about to have a great time for the next 4 months. Before I dive into this build, it will be nice if you can like my video and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate your support. Alright, this is a Crit Ice Crash of Cadence layer build. Ice Crash of Cadence is a melee skill that converts 100% of its physical damage into cold damage. It requires dual-wielding one-handed melee weapons to use and alternates weapons with each attack. You deal more damage with your main hand weapon, but have larger AoE with your offhand weapon. This build is a Frenzy Endurance Charge stacker. The idea is to scale max Frenzy charges, and by taking Slayer's Masterful Form, our max endurance charges is the same as our max frenzy charges. Relicash Impatience is then used to get permanent max charges, giving us lots of damage, attack speed, crit, and defense bonus. The result is a build with high damage, great clear, and solid defense. It's also fun to freeze and chill enemies, which at the same time is a good defensive layer for this build. This is a melee build, so obviously you're forced to stay near the enemies. It requires a lot of active button pressing because we're using 3 war cries. Therefore, this playstyle is not for everyone. Ice Crash of Cadence receives a massive buff in 3.25. Now that we gain 1% more attack damage per range, I expect the leveling process to be relatively smooth. I will be using the new Vengeful Cry, which grants range and prevents range from being lost. Hopefully it's good for our build. As for defense, apart from the ones mentioned before, the endgame version of this build has block, fortification, spell suppression, and about 70% of chaos resistance. I have 3 sets of gears: early game, mid game, and end game. I hope to clear raid maps with just early game gears. I crafted my weapons with Shrieking Essence of Contempt. Got this with 10 tries, and this with only 1 try. Most important mods are increased physical damage, attack speed, and crit chance. Flat physical damage is guaranteed with Essence of Contempt, so once you hit either 2 of these 3 mods, you can then craft the remaining mod. Accuracy is scarce, so try to get it on your gears. Attack speed and elemental damage with attacks are good damage mods. The rest is just to cap your resistances and get the attributes needed. The mid-game set isn't that much different. Upgrade your weapons obviously and grab Hit Shiver. Hit Shiver is like 40 to 50C, but it's a good upgrade from massive damage boost. You can roll your Eldritch Implicits on other gears for more damage. If you just want to map comfortably, get some currency and move to the next build, I think you can stop here. You will still have enough DPS, around 2 to 3 million with just a 5 link and 3 auras. The endgame version is for the people that want to get to the end of it and take on some of the hardest game content. Relicash Impatience is reserved for the endgame version because it is expensive. However, it's the build-defining item and it's definitely worth it. Once you have this, you can unspec the Sword Mastery that gives you a chance to hit a frenzy charge when you hit a unique enemy. We get spell suppress on our body armor and gloves. Combined with some passive points on a tree, we can get close to 100% spell suppression. Let's say if you have OCD, you really want to hit the 100%, you can roll it as your gloves Eldritch Implicit. I want to quickly go over the gem setup. Everything is self-explanatory, but I want to talk specifically about War Cry. We use 3 War Cries, but here I only listed 2. The other one is the new gem Vengeful Cry that's not added in POE yet. It gives range and prevents range loss. So I think it should be good for our build. You can link Seismic Cry to Auto Exertion because we don't care about the buff, we just want our exerted attacks to have more AoE. Just keep in mind that Auto Exertion reserves 15% of mana, so you may have to grab Champion of the Cause or get mana reservation efficiency somewhere. Battle Mage Cry and Vengeful Cry, however, must be cast manually to gain their buffs. I have the skill tree at different points so you can follow it if you have zero idea how to progress your passive tree. This sword mastery is useful for generating frenzy charges against unique bosses before you get your hands on Relic Cache Impatience. After that, you can unspec this wheel. In 3.25, a lot of melee skills have their mana cost doubled or even tripled. Crash of Cadence is no exception. Its mana cost goes from 6 to 11, almost doubled. Now I have 2 rings with minus mana cost, but if you think it's not enough, here is a list of things you can do. The easiest way is to get minus mana cost on all our jewelry. Since they're all rare, it should be easy. The other way is to use inspiration support that also gives us increased elemental damage and crit chance. Just take care not to use too many rich support gems or it will be hard to color your gem sockets because the body armor is evasion based. You can get some reduced mana cost on tree. We have some passive near duelist starting area. Life mastery skills cost life instead of 15% of mana cost is also an option. If you want, you can use life tap for every other skill except Ice Crash. Lastly, if you're not using Hit Shiver, you can roll reduced mana cost of attacks Eldritch implicit on your rare helmet. Alright, I think I've covered everything. This is going to be my lake starter too, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment below and I will respond as soon as possible. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Happy lake start, Exiles.